I'm Corky Coker, and I have been around collector cars my whole life. I've been raised in the old car hobby. I love the European cars, the Model Ts, the hot rods, the race cars, the vintage bikes, the antique trucks. I just dig it. But you know what's better than that? Is the people in the old car hobby. They are the best.
Sometimes the road less traveled takes you where you need to go. You turn back, things unravel.
At Honest Charley Speed Shop, we love to build hot rods.
Never know what you've been looking for. Across the road, it always winds. Keep your eyes on what's in front of you. You just don't know what you might find.
Every car here in the Coker Museum has a story, and every story has a good ending. The most important thing that I like to do is have other people enjoy them, and I like to drive them. I like to see them out on the roads. I like to see them on the racetracks, and that's what we're doing at Honest Charley Garage. We're building cars that people can enjoy, that people can drive, and people can experience.
Have you found what you've been looking for? Across the road, it always winds. Keep your eyes on what's in front of you. You just don't know what you might find.
Sometimes you got to prime all the cylinders and get them running, and sometimes, you want to starve them for gas. The Mercer's ready to go. We got our friend Jonathan Klinger from Haggerty Insurance here. Come here, Jonathan. I just wanted you to see Jonathan's face. He does Haggerty Drivers Club, and is a wonderful friend, and they kind of make sure that these things are protected. Haggerty Insurance, Haggerty Drivers Club, Jonathan Klinger.
That's right, we're going to go drive some cars this morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks for being here so early. This is a 1911 Mercer Raceabout 35J. Unrestored presentation, runs like a scalded dog. We had it on a race course yesterday in Group 1, and it probably came in third. It's only because I didn't want to pass anybody because the roads were wet. Great time, but we're going to the concourse, the Elegance, at the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival this morning.
About 6:15 in the morning, we're actually getting the cars ready for the concourse. We're having to come back to get a couple more of the Mercer and the Alco and the Nybird to carry them down to the concourse this morning. And it's just early. Got the racing all weekend, and now we're taking cars to the concourse.
The 1912 Alco, big four-cylinder, 600 cubic inch. 4-speed, four-cylinder Alco 1912, made by American Locomotive Company.
How do you start it?
It's got a lot of procedure. We have to prime every cylinder. Then we've got 2 pounds. It's got a Luckenheimer pressurized gas system.
We have the master Corky in here trying to get these things started up again this morning because Richard and I have been racing while Keith was getting them ready. The sequence is a little different on every car. So.
down here this morning about 4:30 getting ready to go do the concourse today. And so we're going to drive down in the dark, and I think he's the only one that's got lights. So may get some of my buddies that are the local police department here to help us out.
You can help support our show by joining the Haggerty Drivers Club. It includes a subscription to our award-winning magazine, unlimited access to our evaluation tool, 24/7 roadside assistance with flatbed towing, free classified listings, exclusive coupons and offers, and VIP perks to select Haggerty events. Get more information at haggerty.com/HDC. And by our friends at Moss Motors, run by enthusiasts for enthusiasts.
The guys took the engine out of the Jaguar, and we got a kit from Moss Motors to rebuild the carburetors. There are 3. This car is a high-performance vehicle, hence the 3. They also sent us a engine dressing kit with new Acorn nuts and some washers. I think Corky's really going to enjoy this vehicle to be part of his collection.
Our engine looked great after polishing and painting it, but there was definitely something missing, so we ended up getting a dress-up kit for the engine, which just included chromed Acorn nuts and copper crush washers, and it just made it look a lot better. It also came with brass exhaust bolts. Again, on that side, it just makes things look a lot nicer and tidies up the engine bay. So our carburetors needed rebuilt. They were pretty nasty. One of them was completely clogged and didn't allow any fuel through it when we test ran it. So it was a 6-cylinder running on 4, and we needed to get a rebuild kit. Moss has a master rebuild kit, and it comes with everything you need. And we have HD8 carburetors, triple setup, and it comes everything down to the copper overflow tubes, everything you ever need for rebuilding a set of carburetors. So of course the most difficult part about setting up a multi-carb setup is setting up together, syncing all the carburetors together, making sure everything is exactly the same on all 3, especially on this setup since it's one carburetor feeds 2 cylinders. It doesn't feed all 6, and it's important that they're all synced so that once they're on the car and you start the car, it starts up with no issues. You don't have any, it doesn't sound like a diesel when you start it up. So our master rebuild kit also comes with a little container of dash pod oil. There's a bunch of different things you can read online what to use for dash pod oil. Most people will say 30-weight engine oil is usable, but that just allows some dampening for the piston so it doesn't shoot straight up and won't come falling back down. It allows smoother action for that piston to come up and down inside. Something that you kind of only see on multi-carb on more performance setups is that they don't feed all 6 cylinders. They only feed a certain number, and on our setup it's only feeding 2 cylinders on our 6-cylinder engine. On other setups, on 2-carb setups, you might see that each cylinder is feeding 3 or perhaps all 6. Putting this all together, the car's coming together very nicely. I really like the look of the engine. Engines are kind of my thing. I really like all the specs and such of putting engines together, and I really like the way that it's turned out so far.
So a 3.8 Jaguar engine with the porcelain manifolds, all the new Acorn nuts, which has dressed this engine up fantastically. We've got SU's HD8s to go, and because it's a 150S, there are 3 on this car. 3.8 is an amazing little motor. It will look wonderful on this car. Jason and Josh have done an amazing job. All the parts, all the washers, all the gaskets, new plugs, all this stuff, new fuel lines, all available at Moss Motors. We have all of this stuff ready for this car going back together. We'll go in the car relatively soon. We're just very happy with everything that both Josh and Jason has done and Moss Motors has supplied. So how cool is it that, just some entrepreneurs and car guys in Chattanooga we don't have a huge big golf courses, which is where most of the concourse are. We developed the process and the whole idea of having a motor car festival downtown. We had the cooperation of the city and county governments, the legislature, the city council and the county commission all agreed, and people came from everywhere. And it had, the motor car festival the first year had, great reviews. Second year, even better. It's going to be a huge, big event moving forward for collector cars all over the place. I urge you to put it on your calendar. It's usually the second week of October. Come to the Motor Car Festival this year. So at the concourse, competition is great. The level of quality of cars will be amazing. There are cars coming from all over the United States. There will be a gathering of the greats, the Ferraris. There will be Ferraris that are worth in excess of $5 million. Amazing, each, by the way, each. So a wonderful array of cars at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival.
Sister. This is Christy Bowen, and behind us is a 1909 Thomas Flyer. It was her father's favorite car. And I'm a little emotional today because I wanted to have this car in the Coker Museum, and my sister just told me that my brother and she have agreed to sell this car to the Coker Museum. And this car was his favorite car, and I've got a truck that I always wanted from him in a 1912 Nyberg that you guys are going to see more of and we'll talk about. But this is an 825 cubic inch, 6-cylinder, 70 horsepower Model K Thomas 1909 that my dad dearly loved. And it's a little emotional for my sister because she has a strong connection. Dad always loved her best. All I got was a chicken. But I can tell you I'm really happy and I'm just thrilled that we get the opportunity to have share a tear together. We've all been through a lot of stuff over the last couple of years, but to be here at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival, and I have found out that I have acquired this car today at the Chattanooga Motor Car Festival here in downtown Chattanooga.
I'm so excited, and so is my brother David, that this car, our dad's favorite car, will be at the Coker Museum. Yeah. So we're very pleased that Corky's going to have this car and that many of you all will get to see it and it won't be stuck back in the barn. We're so pleased for you to come see it at the Coker Museum. It's a lovely car. My mom and dad enjoyed riding in it and touring in it for a long time. It's precious to our family, so come see it.
So I'm extremely honored to be the Grand Marshal of the 2021 Chattanooga Motorcar Festival, and we've had tremendous events all throughout the weekend right here in downtown Chattanooga. We've had the Jim Pace Grand Prix race course. We had 2 full days of racing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We had rallies all over the southeast in Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama, and North Carolina. And then we have the Mecum auction where they had an 88% sell-through rate, and today it's the Concourse d'Elegance right here at the Westin Hotel. Wonderful cars here, and I am also a judge of this tin and brass class, and there are a number of cars here, and you know, it goes from the 1911 Pierce era in the Coker Museum, 1909 Thomas Flyer, come on this way, 1909 Thomas Flyer, 670, 825 cubic inches in the Coker Museum. Come this way, 1914 Stutz Bearcat, beautiful original sports car from the 1914 era. Did I say in the Coker Museum? Yeah. Come this way. 1912 Alco, 600 cubic inch, 60 horsepower, 4-speed car. Did I say that it's in the Coker Museum? Come this way. 1911 Mercer Raceabout from the, you guessed it, Coker Museum. You need to come to the Coker Museum at Honest Charley Speed Shop so you can see some wonderful cars, wonderful stuff hanging from the rafters, beautiful paintings, neons. There are 2 more cars in this class. The car at the end is a 1911 670 Thomas. Belongs to a friend of mine, Jeff Chatton. He drove from Atlanta. It's just like the big red one you just saw. And then the 1909 Sears Model J. It was owned by a guy named Van Thurston. And Van restored this thing. It was bought new, Sears Roebuck and Company, shipped by rail to his great-grandfather in North Georgia. And they put it together, and this guy restored it. Guess who's the winner of the class? Not me. Van is with the 1909 Sears. I'm here with Van Thurston. Van has restored this car that his great-grandfather bought new from Sears Roebuck and Company. It was shipped into his hometown, and he drove that thing, and he liked it, and he bought it because all of his family, you know, had not seen automobiles in that little town, and it looks like a buggy, so he could convince them to get in this horseless carriage easier. Is that right, Van?
Yeah, Granny, get on up in there. It looks just like
it looks like what we've been riding to church in.
Yeah.
So these 2 young men right here are Warner and Hughes Thurston, the great-grandson of the original owner. Van restored it, and don't tell anybody, but it won the class.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm here with Elaine DeCadney in front of the 1909 Sears. This car was bought by Van Thurston's great-grandfather. He has restored this car to 2-cylinder 1909 Model J. Alan, what do you think about this car? It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's a glorious machine because it's not been spoiled by over-restoration or substitution of original parts. It looks to be a very original car. The wonder for me is it has solid rubber tires before they had a chance to get their hands on the pneumatic air-filled tire as invented in period by Mr. Dunlop.
Mr. Dunlop from the UK, that's close to Alabama where you're from.
Well, you can tell I've got one of those funny accents and it's very difficult to know where I come from.
Here we go. Elaine DeCadney, announcer for the Chattanooga Motorcar Festival. We got to get Mr. Thurston up on the podium.
This is what we call a high wheeler. These cars will really, you can buy this out of the Sears and Roebuck catalog, and they're very cool because Sears and Roebuck was really, in 1909, the Amazon of the day. These are called high wheelers because essentially they are carriages or horseless carriages that were used during the carriage era, and the motor is up underneath the car where they're actually sitting.
Give them a big round of applause for bringing this wonderful car.
Great car. Thank you, guys. And I hope these two guys that are sitting with you on the front seat are car guys. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much.